22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it.
Check.
And are not afraid to say it. 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 And I'm not afraid to say it.
1212, you are listening to Black Westchester Presents People Before Politics Radio every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am AJ Woodson. We have Damon K. Jones in the house.
Yes.
We have Dr. Bob from the Robert Basketball from the Brooklyn Basketballs. There you go. I didn't mess it all up tonight. There you go.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
I've been away too long, brother. That's what it is.
Yeah. We ain't heard from you.
I'm here to reclaim the...
We don't know what's up with Brooklyn.
Yeah, we was like, yo, they must have got them. They must have got him because, like, yo,
we thought they kidnapped Brooklyn Bob.
Yeah, it was like, yo, they done got him.
Listen, I was getting ready to send y'all a ransom note, but you know that I remember.
Yeah, we ain't got no money.
Y'all already I watched.
Word. So, yo, shout to a friend of the show, brother Kenneth Chamberlain. We was with him earlier. Church we go to sometimes, they honored him because we're coming up on the 4th. No, we're coming up on his birthday, his father's
birthday,
73rd. What would have been his 73rd birthday of his father?
Yes.
Who was murdered by the White Plains Police Department 4 years ago. So we was with him a little earlier, and shout out to him and his continued fight for justice in his father's murder, which we stand behind 100%, and we got his back. So Bob, you've been going. So what have you been? Where have you been? You like Bob turned into like the mad mapper, and he just like went into map mode, and we just didn't see him no more. Like,
well, for the past, it's only been 2 weeks. I mean, you've seen me personally.
Yeah, but we didn't hear from like on the phone, nothing. Like it's just like, oh, Bob disappeared, something wrong.
Yeah, well,
make sure the dudes ain't get him. Like you know.
Nah, I'm safe. I mean, they know what team I'm on, so they don't want y'all. Not me. They don't want y'all. They know I'm running with superheroes. But in any case, I've been trying to gear up for the upcoming political season by putting together some really sophisticated high-end databases and maps.
Okay.
That will help to pinpoint, areas of electoral strength and weakness in the city of Mount Vernon. A lot of interesting things that I uncovered that I don't think that people are quite aware of.
We're not going to review them today. We're going to wait till you got the map so we can just like, bow.
Well, yeah. All right. Very good. That would be more.
No doubt. So on to so this week was very eventful week. So on Friday, Black Westchester broke the story 45 minutes before low HUD, which I'm proud of. That Mount Vernon Mayor Richard Thomas terminated the police commissioner Robert Bob Kelly, who was on the show, who has been on the show, and it was just it was a big hush about it. We cut a little flack online. People say, "Oh, how can you write it? It's not true." This, that, and other. The mayor told another angry blogger. That's what her name will be from now on. The angry blogger. He told the angry blogger that it wasn't true, so she wrote it wasn't true, but then released a press release Friday, Saturday saying he did in fact fire Commissioner Kelly, but he said he did it on Saturday. So now I will say, because I wrote the story and I sent it to the mayor and everyone in his administration and everybody who's a big proponent to back him up, who always says, you don't know all the facts and come after you, and ain't none of them say nothing all day Friday to Saturday. So He must have got released on Friday. He must have got terminated on Friday, like I said. So either way, Robert Bob Kelly is no longer the Mount Vernon Police Commissioner. And you know what? I just want to say something on my own, like real quick. So let's just to revisit. In December 18th, Mayor Thomas announced that he was going to appoint what he called a deputy mayor, the commissioner of public safety and fire and police and emergency services, all three. It's going to consolidate all three departments, but that was something he couldn't do without the passing of the city council had to vote on that. So then, we questioned it. Black Westchester people before politics and very many people in the community, different stakeholders questioned whether Bob Kelly was actually the right person for the police department. And we've actually talked about it here. Bob, you've talked about the city council. We've all talked about it. And the mayor in every, whether it was a personal conversation or public or whatever he said to the press, he had this man's back. This man was supposed to be what the city of Mount Vernon needed, what was best for the city. He shared the same value and vision, to quote what he said in his announcement of the deputy mayor in December 18th of Richard Thomas. So then, we still questioned him. We gave him a hard way to go. Had him on the show. Gave him a lot of credit. He came on the show, answered all the tough questions, from being allegedly involved in the Boss Squad, which was, robbing drug dealers back in the days. And, just he didn't shy away from any questions. He answered it. Damon over there, Blacks in Law Enforcement America, some others met with him, worked on a couple of things, policies and procedures and stuff. And it turned out that maybe he wasn't a bad choice. So we were rocking with it. Basically it wasn't our choice, but he was the appointed person. And, we went through steps of vetting him and working with him. So he was working on some groundbreaking stuff for the Mount Vernon Police Department. And then, say 90-something, 100 days in, he's fired with no explanation. Now, understand, you don't need an explanation because he serves at the pleasure of the mayor. The mayor can just wake up with a headache tomorrow. Mayor could wake up with a headache tomorrow, and it is no longer his pleasure for him to serve. And, that's it. So that's his right. But, for someone that you touted and you paraded around, Bishop Edwards wrote a very long comment on Black Westchester about how, Richard Thomas paraded him through the black community churches. And, it's just, we would like to know, what really happened.
Go ahead, Bob.
I mean, first I'm going to say that I was stunned to hear the announcement, although myself and others did raise, I think, principled objections about Bob Kelly's appointment. I was certainly one of those who, at least after his appearance on the show, thought that, he'd pass muster. At least, he did a very able job of answering at least some tough questions, maybe not all the ones that we had.
Yeah, he did a Judge Jeff Monroe called up and asked the question, and he did a little sidestep, two-step. He didn't answer that particular question. But he answered for the majority, like you said. He did answer. He did face most of the questions though.
Right. So, and some of the actual substantive policies that he discussed on the show with us suggested that he actually might, provide a model of progressive policing that we thought was well suited to the city of Mount Vernon.
And needed.
needed, and he seemed to be well liked by the people. I saw him on Facebook, at least a couple of pictures of him on Facebook within the past week or two as he went and walked around the city of Mount Vernon,
Right.
Befriending ordinary residents. At least that, was effective for him. I wondered why he was doing it. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I said to myself, this brother looks like he's out here campaigning for a job. So they let him go, and I don't know, I can't really say a whole lot about the decision without any additional background information.
We have questions at this point.
Yeah, that's all we have is questions. I do want to point out, though, that the mayor, although he's well within his prerogative to release any of his appointees, it is not the case that he doesn't have to provide an answer. The city charter requires the mayor to forward a statement to the clerk's office, actually.
Okay.
In the event of a termination of an appointed officer, explaining why. I don't happen to know where it's at, but the provision in the charter, but I do remember reading it several times. I'm almost certain of it. And I would hate to give the mayor the misimpression that, this is the end of this matter at the very least. Well, my understanding is he has to follow it up.
Well, and then Saturday he released a press statement. Now, I honestly, I have a responsibility to the readers and to what we do. And, the administration and their supporters or, advisors came up with a nicely worded statement. As the editor-in-chief, as a journalist, as a radio show host, I do not believe that it answered the questions that we received from the people. Like, we were getting a lot of questions from everyone wondering, what really happened, what was the problem, what did he do, it was a lot of questions asked, and that statement didn't seem to answer those questions. And I texted the mayor, we went back and forth a little bit, and I told him that I would run the press release in its entirety. Like, I'm not going to break it up, and there's a few things that I want to challenge, but I wanted to let that run in its entirety. But I put a paragraph before it saying that, our readers are not, we don't feel like it answers the questions the readers are asking, and the residents of Mount Vernon are asking. And we requested an interview with him to ask the questions and get answers to those questions. I didn't get an answer to that yet, but and I let him know, just so he's not blindsided or nothing, that was what I was going to write before it even went up.
Right.
So whether I hear from him or not, that would be on him. But his questions, his press release that left more questions than answers. And a lot to be desired, and that's, a lot of people read it, was like, a lot of people were very disappointed by it. So Damon, you've been a little quiet, and I know you have a few things to say, so let me pass the mic.
First thing is, you can take down that flyer. I told you, man. Just let that shit run. Just let it run. All right, let's. I'm just trying to figure out, and I think Mayor Thomas needs to be a little more clear with his statement on
a little more transparent.
Well, transparent. Okay. I mean, if they a little more clear, if we want to use the word, transparent or whatever issue, and yes, we're gonna chop this piece up and make it a separate piece that, yes, we're talking about it, and it needs to be talked about, because Mayor Thomas was not only on a lot of the radio shows in Westchester County defending his choice of Commissioner Kelly, and Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, and I myself, we voiced our disappointment in the choice. And as I stated on this radio show while Commissioner Kelly was here, You know, it wasn't about his inexperience in the institution, but there was nothing documented in his being qualified in actually policing a black community the way a black community needed to be policed. And I was vocal in front of Commissioner Kelly. Now, second, since that radio show, we have met a couple of times, and even on the radio show, we talked about progressive ways of policing and changing the culture, exchanging ideas. Now, all that is live on the show. You know,
episode 70.
Right. Nothing that I'm saying is different than what's on the show live with me and Commissioner Kelly. And he had progressive thoughts on how to change not just policy, not just the use of force policy, and adding different things to it, which, you know, I will admit other police commissioners throughout Westchester County had failed to do. You know, like reviewing the Governor Patterson Police on Police Task Force and their recommendations, you know, so we won't, and the Westchester County use of force recommendations, so we won't have another Detective Ridley. So these officers will be trained in shoot or don't shoot scenarios when you're off duty or in plain clothes. You know, he was looking at that. He implemented, he said he implemented new policy in the chokehold, banning chokeholds off of the Eric Gardner incident, which wasn't implemented by any of his predecessors. Which, you know, that's something that needs to be, you know, commended. You know, also he was working on a new community policing paradigm in working to build a better relationship with the community and the police force. He also was outspoken for the need of a civilian complaint review board with subpoena power. You know, I don't know people that are listening, they know what a civilian complaint review board is, but that will be a review board that people can go and make official complaints, and that review board will investigate those complaints on police officers and make recommendations for discipline, firing, or bringing up criminal charges on the police officers, and subpoena power to maintain that the police officers are compelled to testify or ask questions in front of the board. And Commissioner Robert Kelly made that clear, not only on this show but at the city council meeting, that he was in favor of that. Also, he had presented to the city council what he was calling a fast track promotional, where more minorities, people of color, were able to be promoted through the rank and file to be in decision making positions. Now, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. The organization can't be mad at that, and I think the community can't be mad at that either. You know, we had our other issues that we agreed to disagree on. You know, but that's what you do. That's what adults do when they sit down and they discuss issues and they move on for the betterment of the city. And I really think those initiatives that Kelly was putting forth, you know, those initiatives were something positive for the city, positive for the residents, and positive for City Hall and Mayor Thomas, because he was on the poise to be one of the first city in Westchester County to have a civilian complaint, active civilian complaint review board that is actually moving forward and everything. And he also wanted to move the police complaint forms out of the police department and into the clerk's office. And I think that was a great move, because a lot of people, when they make a complaint on a law enforcement officer,
do not want to go into the police station.
They're intimidated. They're intimidated. So I don't know what his reasons is, but for him to say that Commissioner Kelly did not live up to his vision, he needs to be clear and transparent on what his vision actually was, because I'm trying to figure out what his vision was. So we go to the caller.
Caller, please state your name and purpose for calling. Welcome to People Before Politics Radio.
Well, this is Dr. Ron Daniels